I'm Shay Russell from mining.com.au, and I am coming to you once again from the RIU Sydney Resources Roundup. Sitting next to me is Simon Finnis, the Managing Director for McLaren Minerals. Simon, it's great to see you. How are you?
Good, I'm good actually. It's good to be in Sydney again. I haven't done this for a number of years. It's still a very, very good setup, so I'm happy to be here.
And thank you for ignoring how many takes it took me to get the name out properly. I appreciate that.
Look, with Oscar Piastri in the news, I'm surprised you didn't get McLaren out much easier. But anyway,
Yes,
that's all right.
Good point.
That's all right.
All right, now let's talk about one of my favourite subjects, oddly enough, mineral sands. Now, you've got a project out in Western Australia, but you did just put some news out, some drilling news. What's been happening in the ground?
Yeah, so we've completed our initial drilling program since we acquired the project. We believe we've achieved what we set out to achieve, which was to drill the main part of the ore body to a tighter drilling pattern. You might need to shorten that up. Drilling pattern. And look, what we're aiming to do is to get more of the resource into the indicated gallery, which will give us much more confidence about the resource. And that will lead into mining plans in due course and all that sort of stuff. So the drilling program was really good. Probably took a little bit longer than we would have liked, but you know, drilling is drilling and it's not always easy. We hit a bunch of water in a few holes, so that was very, very positive. And the other thing that came out of what we probably didn't expect was we found gypsum on the northern tenement. And the reason that's positive is one of the ways we settle the slimes is use gypsum as a reagent. So if we somehow manage to prove that up into a resource, then we can use that in the operating project in the long term. So look, a pretty positive outcome.
You said two interesting things there that I think we should draw on. One is water. You hit water. Now, mining actually consumes an awful lot of water, so finding water is obviously a benefit for McLaren Minerals going forward.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that was one of the things that we had a question mark over because they told us they hadn't seen any water in any of the drilling, but we had 5 holes, pressurised water coming out of the holes. In one occasion, it was quite graphically pressurised, so everyone got really wet and dirty. So look, that's still very positive from a mining perspective. Obviously, still got to do a lot of work. How much water is there? Will it last when we pump it, etc., etc. But just the fact that there's water there sort of put a smile on our face for that day.
It is. It means you're not shipping it in.
Well,
it's reliant on shipping it in.
Correct, and that all, you know, there's always ways of getting water, but there's better ways and worse ways, and this is the best way when it's on site. You know, very short pipeline, pumps, everyone's happy.
And the other thing that you said in your first answer was you found gypsum and you will be able to use it as a reagent going forward. Let's be honest, that doesn't roll off the tongue at barbecues around Australia.
That's right.
What is that and how is that useful?
So we use it in the test work for de-sliming the project. So in mineral sands, one of the nasties is slime, which is just fine-grained material. So we need to remove that before we can process the sand. And one of the tests they did was settling the slime, and they used gypsum. Now, we can buy gypsum, and there's plenty of gypsum around, but if we can find it on site and we can mine it, that'll be cheaper. And if it's the right quality, then that'll be a great outcome for the project.
Fantastic. Now, speaking of the project, to take today's conversation home, where are you overall? So what stage are we at and what are we looking forward to hear about from McLaren in the future?
So we're now in the final stages of the Prefeasibility Study. We're waiting for assays from the drilling program we just spoke about. Obviously, those numbers will be very important because I'll go to our geologists to do a new resource update. And we're hoping, of course, to increase the size of the indicated portion. We'd love to see perhaps a little bit more material, but you know that wasn't the main game of this program. So we'll certainly see some assays come out from us in the short term. Then the mineral resource. We're doing the test work on the slimes and the flow sheet. So that'll also confirm what we need to build to process this material. And that'll lead to the capital estimate, operating cost estimate, and a final pre-feasibility study. And so I think then everyone will sort of understand why I like this project and why the company likes the project. So that'll enable us to talk about numbers for the first time.
That'd be really nice to do that. But before you can talk about numbers, I insist on dragging you back on probably from the studio so we can learn a little bit more about mineral sands in detail.
Yep.
So by the time we've got those numbers, everybody's up to speed with mineral sands. How does that sound?
Sounds very good.
Listen, Simon, thank you so much for your time today. It is always a pleasure to talk to you, even better when it's indoors and not 100% humidity.
Thanks, Shay.